LoreWarrior Aerotech, ST-46 class shuttle. Used to carry cargo and passengers, the ST-46 shuttle is carried aboard many transports and some jump ships and space stations. It masses 100 tons, measures roughly 22 meters long, and has a wingspan of about 19 meters. Its fuselage is streamlined for atmospheric stability and maneuverability. Although unarmed, the craft has a small amount of armor plating for protection against docking and landing damage. This shuttle is unsuited to rough handling. Pilots must land it on well-paved surfaces, as the landing gear has been known to collapse when landing on unprepared surfaces. Besides the cockpit and the engine section, there is a passenger section and a large cargo hold. Located directly behind the cockpit, the passenger section has a seating capacity of up to 8 passengers. At the front end is the door leading into the cockpit, and at the back is a door leading into the craft's airlock. There's no way to reach the cargo hold or the engine section from the passenger section or the cockpit. To access these areas, one must travel outside the craft and enter through the main cargo door or through an engine section access panel. Between the engine and passenger section is the cargo bay, which is large enough to carry up to 74.5 tons of equipment. Access to the hold is through a door mounted on the vehicle's starboard side. There are no conduits or pipes running through the cargo holders. There are on many other small craft. So stat-wise, as it says, it's 100 tons. It is 22 meters long, 19 meters wide, with a crew of one, just the pilot. Its cargo complement is 74.5 tons, and says 9 passengers now instead of 8, so I mean, make it that way you will. I guess technically the pilot counts as a passenger. Its drive system is the NTEC 200C, and it was originally introduced in 2528, so it's a tried and true design, been around for a long, long time. Its frequency of sighting is obviously quite common. As far as stats are concerned, it has a thrust of 4 and an overthrust of 6, with a structural integrity of 4. Its engine is 200 rated. It uses 15 thrust points for fuel of 75 in total, and it has 0 plus 10 heat sinks. Armour is actually fairly decent for a shuttle. It has 20 armour on the nose, 10 on the left and right side, and then 35 on the fuselage, and finally 5 on the engine. So yeah, obviously common little sight, a good idea of what you imagine most people will actually be travelling on in system between ships, and obviously on planets as well, because you imagine these shuttles probably take off from starports, get into the upper atmosphere and or lower orbit, and then they will obviously land back down in another area, which means obviously travelling across huge distances on worlds is probably quite common in craft like this. There's probably also larger commercial vessels, obviously, that will transport a lot more people at the same time, so gives you an idea though. And it also gives you an idea of how obviously a lot of flotillas and fleets will work, with obviously officers and crew being able to move between different craft, different dropships and jump ships and stuff in everyday kind of operation of fleets. But we're not done there. I thought I'd give you a second one here, because we have the S-7A class bus. The S-7A class is often found on space stations, jump ships, and even some dropships. This 20-meter long cylinder looks rather odd. Unlike most small craft, it has no control surfaces, wings, or even stabilizers. And it's because the bus was designed to transport cargo and passengers only in space. It performs the same function as the ST-46 shuttle, but is limited to travel to and from stations and ships. It's equipped with a small engine core because it doesn't need a great deal of thrust, and with only 2 tons of fuel has an extremely limited range. The bus's interior is organised similar to the shuttle's. Near the front end of the craft is the passenger compartment with seats for 10 passengers. At the back of the compartment is the entrance to the airlock, but unlike the shuttle, the airlock leads into the pressurised cargo bay. Comprising 3/4 of the bus's bulk, the cargo section has 2 self-contained bays connected by a large cargo door. The forward bay is approximately 11 meters long and can hold up to 60 tons of cargo. The 4-meter long aft section is used to carry the remaining 24 ton of the bus's cargo capacity. The aft hold has a cargo door that opens into space. Because of this section's smaller size and independent pressurization system, it's often used as an airlock for transferring pressure-sensitive cargo into the larger forward hold. In the back of this hold is a small access hatch that leads directly into the engine section. In an emergency, the entire cargo section can be detached from the rest of the craft. Without this central part of the fuselage, the craft's structural integrity is halved. So to detach the cargo section, a set of explosive bolts are detonated, launching it through the top of the fuselage. And out of this procedure, the cargo section will remain intact and does become depressurized. The craft and its cargo section may be joined once again, but the operation requires a well-equipped repair team and many hours of work. The two-man cockpit is in the front, and it is above the passenger section. Access to the cockpit is through a door in the front end of the passenger section. So much like the Shuttle, this is also 100 tons. It's 20 metres long but only 7 metres wide, with a crew of 2. It has a cargo complement of 84 tonne and 10 passengers, and its drive system is the Burster M100, introduced a little later in 2602 and is also commonly cited. It has a thrust of 3 and an overthrust of 5. Let's see, what else we got here? So the armour isn't, it's not terrible for what it is. It's got 15 points on the nose, 5 on the right and left side, 15 on the fuselage, and 8 on the engine. So, I don't know, personally, if a bus should only be able to hold 8 passengers, but okay. I guess a lot of these get launched at once, at different sort of intervals, so I guess when it is ferrying people to and from stations and ships, it's probably fairly common. There's probably a few of these on a station at any one time ready to take people to their destination, so I guess it's not too bad, but I guess I don't know if I call it a bus so much. Maybe it's the S-7 minibus. But yeah, it's a couple of interesting little vehicles, things that you would commonly see in BattleTech, but obviously rarely get mentioned. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of gameplay ideas around this. If you're doing some kind of actual sort of group play role-playing scenario in the MechWarrior RPG, where you can do things where there might be a situation where there's a hostage crisis, you obviously being able to just come across an abandoned shuttle or bus with some kind of mystery around it. What happened? Are the occupants still inside? Was there some illicit cargo on board? Something happened? Lots of different ideas there. You can find all kinds of things. Possibly having the players even having to hijack one of these things themselves and trying to escape to a waiting ship that's off sensor range, that kind of thing. All kinds of little ideas you can come up with that can utilize these vehicles, and I'm sure there's plenty of other ideas. Hell, even having it that an extremist group has set them up as one of them with a bomb, so they set us up the bomb. It goes into a station, explodes. The players might be on the station, kind of thing, and then there might be a mad scramble to find out who did it, and if others are being going to be used for the same kind of attacks in other parts of the system. I think there's a bunch of interesting little ideas that you can come up with that might better fit and use things like the shuttle and the bus, and also player-owned craft as well. Players having their own shuttles and their own buses, make some minor modifications, using them for different tasks, having where the players may have a shuttle that it looks, for all intents and purposes, like a regular one, but it's got some extra equipment on board that might be useful for communications interception, being able to, or maybe having some kind of shielded cargo, hidden cargo section that allows them to transport, illegal items or anything that's kind of sensitive that they don't want to be found by one of the Great House's security teams, that kind of thing. Or maybe they're working for a private interest who need them to get something for them or deliver an item, that kind of thing. So just sort of coming up with ideas there. But yeah, I think that's about as much as we should probably spend of your time today with a shuttle and a bus. So not the most exciting things, but definitely interesting, again, little elements of the universe that could definitely be expanded upon. So I will leave you all there. Have a good one. Thanks for listening, as always, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.